We are in the midst of a glorious slasher renaissance. Now, I've talked about this a bit on panels and podcasts discussing contemporary horror and where we're headed. I truly feel like audiences are itching for something fun, a bit bonkers, over-the-top gory, well-orchestrated kills. Look at the success of Art the Clown and the Terrifier series. And then we have things like In a Violent Nature, a slasher told almost entirely from the point of view of the slasher. Also the winner of our 2024 Chainsaw Awards highly coveted Best Kill Award. At the beginning of this year, rom-com slasher Heart Eyes tore the box office open. So we're really seeing the shift toward audiences wanting more of that, myself included. Obviously, slashers are standing on the shoulders of giants, household names like Michael Myers, Freddy Krueger, Ghostface, Jason Voorhees. But how about the slashers that came before that didn't quite make it into franchise and household name territory? If you'd like to expand your horizons, here are 8 underrated slashers that you should check out if you find yourself gravitating to slashers as a subgenre. Now, these are not wildly deep cuts, but they are not nearly as celebrated as those massive franchises I just mentioned. So let's get into it. Happy Birthday to Me. Twists, weird killer reveals, and a whole lot of 80s slasher charm. Happy Birthday to Me nails all of those things. The film follows Ginny, whose friends are being brutally murdered ahead of her birthday. As she struggles to grasp reality due to trauma, she wonders if she's the one killing her friends. The film is exactly what one might expect from an early 80s slasher. But there's a lot of charm and interesting filmmaking on display. Happy Birthday to Me has unique kills, fun practical effects, and a reveal that you might not see coming. It makes for a good birthday watch for any seasoned slasher lover. Night School. Sometimes horror films that have cult followings don't always get wider attention. Night School follows a string of murders happening to the students at a Boston, you guessed it, night school. And as the murders continue, the police slowly realize a common denominator. The film has a Giallo-inspired killer, a lot of beheadings, and a gross scene that might make you avoid stew for a while. Night School is very much of the time it was released, and the killer's motivations are relatively dated. However, the Giallo feeling woven throughout will appeal to some fans, and a woman in the director's chair is a bonus. If you are a connoisseur of the subgenre and like the concept of a mysterious killer who wears a chic outfit, you'll likely enjoy Night School. The House on Sorority Row. In terms of sorority-based slashers, The House on Sorority Row is one of the best examples. This one follows sorority sisters who are stalked and killed off by a mysterious killer after a prank goes wrong. Despite the film undergoing a remake in 2009, it's still not as widely appreciated or mentioned. The House on Sorority Row has a great fall aesthetic, typical sorority characters, and is very weird, but in the best way. There's something special about it, and it's one of those slashers that either works for you or it doesn't. While it may not have the most interesting killer reveal, it is perfect for fans who like their slashers bizarre. If you're grossed out by severed heads in toilets, you're in for it with this one. Blood Rage. That's not cranberry sauce. There aren't many Thanksgiving-based horror films out there, and there are certainly none like Blood Rage. The film follows twin brothers as one of the twins escapes a psychiatric hospital after spending years there for seemingly murdering someone. It's a twisty and unapologetically bizarre slasher. The characters are all strange, the murders are gory, and is hands down one of the worst Thanksgiving nights ever. Blood Rage is charming, it's heavy on the practical effects, unafraid to terrorize its victims, and the ending offers no hurrah for anyone. Instead of a final girl being triumphant at the end, Blood Rage subverts any of those expectations. If you're looking for a somewhat more obscure slasher from the 80s, this is the perfect film to throw on for a wild ride. Cherry Falls. As far as late 90s slashers go, Cherry Falls got the short end of the stick in terms of release, as it never went to theaters in the US. Cherry Falls focuses on a killing spree that targets virgins in the fictional town of Cherry Falls, Virginia. It's one of those slashers that can easily be forgotten amongst 90s heavy hitters like Scream. It's an imperfect slasher, and some elements might not age well, but it still has an appealing quality because it's so different. Plus, the late, great Brittany Murphy, we love you Brittany, delivers a quirky performance with a lot of screaming throughout. Cherry Falls might have become more recognized if it had gotten a proper theatrical release, but we'll never know for sure. And all anyone can do is check it out and talk about it more. For once, the virgins are not safe. Slumber Party Massacre, the 2021 remake. A sci-fi remake of a cult horror film may not sound great, but it is. Slumber Party Massacre follows a tight-knit group of girls whose vacation to a rented cabin becomes a battle for their lives. The remake turns the plot on its head, and much like the original, offers commentary regarding women in slashers. There's quite a bit to love about this particular remake and what it manages to do. It gives the audience characters to root for, it winks at a potentially queer relationship, and it has a lot of fun kills. The original has a quirky charm to it and humorous moments, and this remake manages to do that as well. It's not discussed very much in the horror remake conversation, but trust me, it should be. Sick, a pandemic-based horror film directed by Kevin Williamson? Abso-freaking-lutely. Sick follows best friends Parker and Miri, who decide to quarantine in Parker's lake house. Must be nice. But they soon discover they are not alone. It's a heart-pounding slasher that'll leave you clinging to your blankets, and that's something we don't always get these days. The premise of Sick might not sound unique aside from the pandemic aspects. However, it is one of the most relentless slashers released in the past few years. The killer reveal isn't what one might suspect on an initial viewing. The film not getting a theatrical release is a shame, and throwing it on Peacock may have caused people to forget it existed, but we are here to remind you it is worth throwing on. The Conference. There's a lot of fun to be had in this partially satirical slasher about capitalism and corporate greed. The Conference follows employees who go on a team-building retreat as they're picked off by a deranged man looking for revenge. The film is an international gem that's easy to miss on Netflix, but if you stumble upon it, you will not be disappointed. The Conference has a lot of humor, capable characters, and gory kills to top it all off. Aside from the kills, one of the best parts of the film happens to be the characters who fight back to the best of their ability. If you're looking for an international slasher with no shortage of blood, you'll enjoy this one. I realize I said we had 8 recommendations for you, and those were our 8, but the whole reason that this was in conversation in the first place is because of the rom-com slasher, Heart Eyes. If you haven't seen that one yet, check it out. Have you seen all of these? Which underrated slashers do you think more people need to see? Drop us a comment below and share some more underrated gems. For more excellent horror to add to your watch list, check out the best new horror movies coming in 2025. You can find this original article and more over on Fangoria.com. Until next time, you delightful creeps.